Sunday was not only the last day of the show, but also the takedown. But when I woke up, the first thing I noticed was this. I just thought it was really cool. Anyway, I played some games. Xenophobe. Xenophobe is basically what it feels like is a Commodore 64 game or one of those Amiga games where the guy was like, okay, I've got this cool idea, but he didn't really implement it very well. So that's what it felt like. You're just basically just running to the right, shooting monsters, and trying to find specific items. That's it. And honestly, it was kind of boring for me, if I were being honest. I think it's easier or it's more fun when there's three players, but I don't know what the three players are doing. So I played it until I got bored. Honestly, that's not a compliment you can give an arcade game. But if I play it again, I'm going to make sure to find out the merits. Anyway, I walked around. It was the last day. Everybody was trying to get together as much as they could. Those setups that you're looking at, they took forever to figure out how to properly set them up. So I just kind of lined them up and let somebody who knew what he was doing get them in order as they wanted. And that's Robotron 2084. Like I said earlier, I prefer Black Widow, but it's the same controls. And with infinite continues, you can actually, make some progress in this stupid game. I believe I got to level 11 before I was just like, I'm done. And you basically play a character and you got to shoot as many things as you can while saving as many people as you can. And you don't always know who's people and who's good and how you can kill monsters. It's honestly kind of weird because you have to die to figure out if it's a bad guy or not. But it is a fun little game, and it's considered a classic, made by Eugene Jarvis, who is still around in the business. He still makes games and is considered kind of a great designer for our day. But if I were being honest, I much prefer Black Widow. Okay, so I've got a bit of history here, and I've been talking to people about, how they became, what they started out in their jobs. And the people at this job, I specifically started asking them, like, so how'd you get into this job? And the guy who runs it was like, well, I started selling when I was a kid, and, I'd go to swap meets, and I was making enough money that I could pay for college. So after a while, I realized college wasn't actually paying me anything, or wasn't doing as much as this job, so I just started doing the job. And, he did pretty well. He's got some great t-shirts, and they made sure to show off the Porg here. And the girl was not they made sure to tell me that this was not her boy. They were not boyfriend and girlfriend. She was merely hired. She was a display girl, and apparently her body type was the perfect type for one of those tightening things. In fact, it helped her sit up straight a little better. She actually said, my posture is better. I actually feel healthier by wearing these. I forget what they're called, but you see them all the time in pictures of steampunk type stuff, and I loved hearing girls kind of squelch like, hey, oh, ah. And the girl here was just like, no, this is my body type. This is actually helping me. And yeah, she's got a very curvy figure, and she made sure to show off, her figure a bit when she was at the show, and she was actually very friendly. And she said she started when she was 16. She was just at a show, and some guy was like, I want you to, sell for me. And I was just like, that's actually kind of creepy. But she's been doing it. She's in her 20s, and she's been doing it since she was 16, and that was kind of cool to hear about. And these are just two people who basically who see shows as a way to make money. And I thought that was a really cool story because we have a similar girl, the girl with the hair who shows up in a lot of shots. Turns out she was at a show and somebody saw her with her hair and her getup, and she knew a ton about pinballs, and so the Marcos people were just like, you're hired. You're going to be at all of our shows. You help with setup, you help with takedown, but you keep the hair. And so that's what she does. She shows up with her hair, and she does all that so that, they have somebody to talk to when, so because it's kind of an attract system, an attract mode, if you will, to gather more people together for these games and just to talk to her. And I took a couple pictures, nothing big. Actually, I was heading to church, and this is honestly a very, very nice building, and I was really amazed by it because it is very non-traditional from what I am accustomed to, and the way the way the building works and how things move around and stuff is very different from the way I'm accustomed to it. That's where all the classrooms and stuff happens, and then you walk in, and almost directly in front of you is, I forget the term here, but the biggest problem I had with this building is the mic stand was obviously installed later, and it was still old, and it had just this awful buzz to it, and it made everything kind of sound, that kind of sound like, hey, wait, let's see if I can do this. I want to welcome everyone. It was just kind of annoying to hear, but it's a classic building, obviously 19th century, and I was just like, I didn't even know there were 19th century buildings in Tacoma, especially for my faith. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And of course, the flowers are beautiful. And there's still construction going on everywhere. It feels like Tacoma got hit by a bomb and now they're rebuilding. Or maybe Godzilla attack. I think it's Godzilla attack, And what's really weird is I thought this was kind of the dregs area, but really it's just the old part of town. And you drive just a couple blocks away and there's a really nice park. So I didn't know that. And, there's flowers everywhere. And I made sure to take pictures of those flowers. Ooh, because I couldn't get a parking space, a parking pass, so I had to park in the middle of nowhere. And that was one of the big chores I had to do, was get all my stuff into my car. And so I had to pass by this area a lot. And I noticed that the pigeons had figured out where to sit. And the guy you're looking at, is that Lefty? Yeah, that's Lefty. The guy with his hands up, he had just lost. I wish I had gotten a video of it. I wasn't expecting him to just go, oh, right when I was taking the picture. And this is the competition area where they were just trying to compete with each other and trying to get grand champions. So it's kind of cool to see somebody from the staff competing. I don't know what place he made, but hey, he's there. And those are the dinosaurs when they're wrapped up and taken care of. And I decided to record in that room. And every time I tried to record, people would step in and be like, "Oh, let me tell you." And after a while, I was just like, I can't keep this recording, can I? So I took pictures and I grabbed some water, but after that, I was kind of not doing it. This caveman never worked, but the thing is, it's pretty easy to fix. It's just the equipment wasn't there to fix it at the show. It is a fascinating game because it is a video game and a pinball machine at the same time. It's actually a pinball game first, and then a fax machine, or a video game second. And you get the ball into certain areas, and then you can play this video game. And I think I know who bought it. It was for sale, but I can't give you any confirmations there. And that is basically what the show floor looked like. No attempts to hide. And I found a Stranger Things pinball game. It was on the electric systems, so I didn't get to play it, but it looks like a nice little board. It's the one that I played that the guy was checking his email on. Let's see if I can do a slow pan in. Ooh. See, this is totally new to me. This is the first time I've actually gotten it to work. But, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm figuring stuff out as you're watching. Sorry. And this is another prototype type game, and I thought it was really cool because they had characters in it. It's very much so in the classic Episode 1 pinball table or Mars Attacks pinball table, where they have holograms everywhere. Obviously, they don't have the board put in, but they've got different ideas and showing stuff, and they've got kind of a video playing, and they're just working on it. And here's the side of that machine. So you can see, you know, that thing with the eyes. Let's just zoom in on him. Whoop. Yeah, those are holograms. They're not actually there. And they're watching you and they're moving around and stuff. So that you can interact with the game in a very different way than what most people are accustomed to. So here, watch this video. I thought the game was a lot of fun. I mean, it goes into the Mars Attack in Episode 1 thing, as I said before, and there aren't a lot of games like that. It's kind of cumbersome to carry around in and of itself, but it's also kind of a style that you don't see on a lot of pin tables, so I thought it was just a really cool idea. And of course, I tried to set the high score every day on Joust, and that was difficult because there was always a line for this Joust machine. It's a sit-down Joust, and oh my gosh, it is actually one of my favorites. It's owned by a guy named JP, and I honestly want one. It's not super on my list, but it's on my list, you know. I'd sooner buy a Neo Geo, but Joust is going to be in my arcade. Anyway, I tried to set the high score, but by the end of the show, we had scores of, well, 100,000 and over. And there's no way I can compete with that. My highest is 30,000. I was not going to be able to beat this game. And yeah, the beads of whatever ladies were dressed up, and so we decided to see what other members of the staff looked like with it. And he's really showing his performance. I think he looks very pretty today. Oh, that one game that I couldn't figure out the name of, it's called Falcon. That you saw yesterday, either Amadar or Falcon. And I just wanted to make sure to take that picture so that you knew what the name of the game was, because it was a lot of fun. And I think I talked about the one game I really enjoyed, Axiom. I don't know why, I just really enjoyed it. And so I'm going to be looking that up. And also the game with the yo-yos and all that stuff is called Spin Master. Action-packed comical adventure. And it's very much so a kid's game, you know. If you have infinite continues, you can beat this game without even trying. And that's kind of how I played it, you know. I've got infinite continues, I'm just going to continue play until my knees hurt, because this game is really short, and I don't have a chair. And here's a close-up of that back glass for the Street Fighter 2 pinball table, and all of the faces look ridiculous, don't they? We've got Janet Jackson on the right, Scrunchy McScrunch in the center. Ryu is looking sort of good, and oh, poor Blanca. Poor Blanca. And I don't even know what they're actually kicking or hitting or anything. Oh man, this is funny. Anyway, I thought to make sure that you guys would see it, and there you go. And without even, I was just so busy, I didn't even notice that the show had ended, and suddenly everybody just started packing up. Oh, that is brilliant. I need to get those. Nice. Yeah, that is. Those are just rolling coasters, and honestly, that is a brilliant idea, because if you, let's say you don't want your machine to be disassembled, you can put it on those coasters, and bam, you've got it right there. I mean, that's not something I would have thought of, and I was just like, you know, that would be pretty good. I kind of want to get those. Just add that to the list of things I need to maintain pinball tables, even though I'm a vid guy. And people were just taking everything out as fast as they could. And I mean, it was fast. Watch this. This is just a couple minutes later. And, you know, people were just disassembling very, very quickly. And I'd go in, I'd help out at the kid zone, and then I'd come back out, and it would just be
I didn't see you little 360 camera, but
empty.
I only used it once.
Oh, there's the girl with the hair. I think I already told her story, but I thought you should see her at least. And basically everything was set up so that everything could get into the first trucks, and that was the goal, was just get everything into the first trucks, because it's going to be a 3 to 4 hour wait for the next set of trucks to come in. So, you know, you've got time to get everything disassembled by then. And by that time, you know, within an hour or two, we had everything wrapped, we had everything prepared, and, you know, the show just slowly started to disassemble. And people were just going in quickly. That was a member of the staff at the convention floor just taking out all the wires. I mean, it's very, very fast. And oddly enough, it's quiet. I don't know why it's quiet in this shot, but it is. Hopefully you can hear me. And, you know, people were just disassembling quickly and doing everything they could. I don't even know who won the Houdini machine, if I were being honest. And that was just non-stop vendors during the show. This is the nitro pin area, and I believe the competition area as well. There we have Marcos. And yeah, every machine was just prepped and went out. And I took a picture of this machine because I didn't know it was at the show. I didn't see it. I think it was like off in some corner for a while. And so I never actually got to see it. But I think it's just a weight machine or something. And yeah, it looks really cool, but it never made it to the show floor as far as I can tell. It's just one of those things that happens, you know, somebody donates a machine and it's supposed to be working and it's not. Isn't it amazing how much quieter it is when everything is turned off? And yeah, it took... We just did everything as quickly as we could, and I don't think I helped very much in the front show floor because everybody knew what they were doing and were getting together to get everything to work, and they were just going layer by layer. So, you know, you see machines that are not taken apart right over there, but the rest is just gone. And your mom gay. I thought that was hilarious. Like, I don't know which kid did that, but that's hilarious. So, yeah. The wireless, or the free play field was still one of my favorites this year. This is a high-up shot of the show floor as people are disassembling and taking things apart as best they can. And you can just see as, you know, it's just emptied so fast. It was actually a shock to watch because, you know, I'd work in the kids zone, get stuff taken apart, and, you know, help out with some stuff. And then, bam, I'd come back in and it'd be taken care of. And, you know, the room just emptied.
It's only been an hour since we finished.
It turned out to be an hour and a half, in case you're wondering. And no, I didn't get to play every single game, though I got to play as many games as I could. And I think that's even better.
Correction, it's been 2.
So yeah, after a while, we just ran out of stuff to do. Yeah, there was stuff to be wrapped, but it was all prepped. It was all ready to go. And, you know, the trucks were were already leaving. You know, one truck is already left. And by the time you look at the inside, it's just empty. Almost all the vids are gone. whole uh, rows are gone, and that's pretty amazing. Oh, that's Cameron. He helped me with stuff. And the one project that we failed at this show was we tried to get a kind of a above the head type shot of everything, and we couldn't get the towers to stay steady. So because of that unsteadiness, we couldn't really get it to work. By the time we tried it at the Seattle Retro Gaming Expo, we used a completely different system, and it actually had some really cool results. I'll show you them as soon as I can, or when we're talking about it. And that's, I believe, the 2.5 hour mark. And all the vendors are gone. They are completely gone. If the vendor is there, he is there just because he wants to hang out. And I actually couldn't hang out with some folks that I wanted to hang out with. Everything was just happening so fast.
Sorry. It's okay. Those of you wondering, those are machines that were bought, so Marcos just left them.
Yep. Those were the machines that we ended up playing when there was no machines left. we call it the last game competition because that's all we've got is we've got this Aerosmith, let's play it. It was actually an Iron Maiden, I believe.
Everything is basically staged, so we're just sitting here waiting. This is what we call the hurry up and wait.
Yep. We were at hurry up and wait, and everything was staged, ready for the trucks. All the trucks had left, so the next amount had been placed, and we were pretty much done. I actually was realizing it was time for me to go, and so I ate a couple sandwiches because they provided sandwiches, and I did what I could, and I got the kid zone all ready, and it was placed and stuff, and after that I think I just left. And that was the Northwest Pinball and Arcade Show. Now the truth is, the very next day was going to be E3, and there was going to that day was E3, and there were tons of videos to watch. So I literally just had all my stuff in my truck or in my car, as mini SUV, and I drove to my buddy Adam's place, and I knew that I was basically going to spend Monday just lying down watching videos and making commentary, and that's pretty much what my plan was. I knew I was exhausted, so I wasn't going to push it. And this was the final picture I took that night, and I was back at Adams. Everything had worked out, and I was happy with life. So, there we go. Oh, check out the fish. They're baby fish. Yay. You're right, I couldn't get a focus on them because they're so small. And video won't let me do control your own focus. I don't know why. It's kind of annoying. But that was the show.